Hey, hey,
hey.
hey.
Oh, wait, we can't hear you. Okay, now we can.
There we
Hey,
go. Hey,
ladies.
hey, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.
It's
Happy Wednesday.
Wednesday.
How y'all
It's just
doing?
me or do Wednesday be coming real fast?
It really do. It really do.
First of all, y'all count Wednesday. I count Monday because I'm like, oh shoot, it's the middle of the day on Monday, and I ain't post the episode. Like, I didn't create the episode and post it so that we can start marketing that we coming live. So y'all count Wednesday. I count Monday.
I be like, it's
Listen,
Monday. I didn't do the flyer.
I'm listen. I count Wednesday because that's truly my week, right? Okay, so look, real quick, I got to shout out Vita Bar because we are trying to get a partnership with them. For those
Ooh,
of you who are, I don't want to say addicted. I hate that word. But for those of you who like to vape, this is a healthy alternative. These are real vitamins in here. And they have so many different flavors. They have, what is this one? I think this one is collagen, melatonin, caffeine, B12, all the different things. So I just wanted to shout them out because they continue to send these to me to try, to sample, and to share. And so listen, we're trying to get a real sponsorship from them. So y'all go ahead and go to the website, vitabar.com, and order you some. I think they're having a special right now. And for first time buyers or first time clients, you can get like 15% off or something like that. So Vita Bar, put down the vape, put
And I
down the
have some.
poison.
I want some.
That's all I'm
I had
saying.
some. I bought some after the retreat.
You
After the
did after the
outreach thing,
retreat.
I did. I bought like 7.
Yeah.
No,
Did you
yeah,
like them?
I did. It's. I'm still not all the way off my vape yet.
Okay.
But I'm trying to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying. I be
It's
working,
gonna
but I do
take
use it.
time.
But I do
Yeah,
use
it's
it.
gonna take time. Because funny enough, I don't vape at all. Like I don't like vaping, nicotine. I don't roll and bake. I don't what is it, wake and bake? I don't do none of that.
Wait a
Wait,
minute.
But
rolling.
what is it? Wake and bake, roll and
Wake
bake.
and
I don't
bake.
do any of those. Pinwheels and bacon. I don't do nothing like that. But someone had gifted me one of these, and I was just like, "Why is this in my gift bag?" I was like, "I'll try it," and then I reached out to them, and they've been sending me more. So I like them. I think they're really good. I definitely get a boost from the B12 and the caffeine ones. The
Mhm.
collagen one kind of mellows me out. The melatonin one, 2 puffs, and I'm like legit sleep. Okay, like
I haven't done the melatonin one yet. I should. I have it. I just
try it.
haven't used it yet. But I did the B12. I did the B12, the vitamin C, and the collagen.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm I'm officially mad at y'all because one, I actually thought you was at the retreat, but based on the things that was happening, I was giving you grace and space because it is a natural herb. It just so happens that when you set it on fire, it does things. But you out here puffing vitamins and ain't tell me, and you
no,
know
I
I've been
did.
ordering.
She
Right,
said
but you ain't telling me you had samples of where to go for it. Okay, I also I guess closed mouths don't get fed or nourished. But okay, I'm
I'm so sorry. No, we had a whole discussion about it
We did.
after brunch on one of the days
It
the
was
retreat
me
was
and you though.
popping.
It was really
No,
me
it
and
was
you.
me, you, Ty, Bernadette. It was a few of us.
not. Y'all remember there were a couple of times that I went upstairs into the room to take a nap because I was enjoying the peace and quiet. But wait, time out. People don't know where they at. We out here
Oh, that's
yapping.
right. Hey,
Welcome to the Hustle and Shine podcast.
hi,
I'm
Jen.
Tiffany Phoenix Mathias.
Hey, Jen. It's
It's your
Natima
girl
Sheree Queen
Melvie,
Pin.
and it's your girl Melvie, the MV pen.
And
Welcome back.
tonight,
Look, Tima knows she's supposed to go last.
one of these days, we gonna say it right and on cue, like we supposed to.
we
But
only look, we only 5 seasons in. We gonna get it eventually.
Why are we still acting remedial? I don't know. But welcome. We're so happy to see
Um,
everybody. Hi. Welcome to Hustle and Shine. Y'all know what to do. Look, y'all judging us for never getting this right. Do y'all get it right? Did y'all like, share, subscribe? Did you post anybody's name in the comments? Are you inviting people here? So don't be coming for us if you didn't do your part either. Let's wait. I ain't got no watch on tonight, but we'll wait. We'll see who
that's
did what.
okay. I've been looking down this whole introduction, and it might look like I'm distracted, but I'm not. I'm in my 987 WhatsApp group chat, dropping the link to the episode.
Right.
No, true story.
Like WhatsApp, I love it and I hate it because I will go to WhatsApp. So first of all, that little bubble that tells you how many unread notifications you have really gives me anxiety. And
Same.
I'll go to WhatsApp because that's what the Diamond Writers and TGI uses to communicate. And when I look at some of my group chats and it says I have 32 missed messages, 64. One time it said 113. I was like, I'm just gonna click on it and swipe to the end because I need that number to go away because that gives me anxiety. Because
Same.
one, going back and reading a group chat, if you were not part of the group chat, you will lose your mind because there's so much subcontext that's in there and nuances that are lost. And then the other thing is sometimes the messages come out of order because I'll be responding to something somebody said up here and then other people are talking down here. And then when my thing come in, it looks out of place. I swear I'm not stupid. I just messages
It
give
be
me
too much.
anxiety.
Listen,
It be way too much.
I had to turn my WhatsApp notifications off. I'm in some groups and I ain't gonna tell you which groups, not y'all, but like I sometimes you can go and you can mute it. It be like mute for 8 hours, I be like mute because it be too much. I be like,
Yeah.
I'll see it when I see it. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna check it, but it's too much. I just need you to be quiet for like 30 seconds. It'd be ding, 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 ding. Be quiet.
No, I think what I hate most about the group chat, and this is one of the cheer moms does this, the people who text like one statement or sentence at a time. If you don't send just one bubble with your whole thought, I'm gonna kill you. I cannot. It literally will say. I was thinking that if the girls all meet at the same, I will fight you. I will fight you at their next competition. You better send it in a paragraph or hush. I can't. I'm sorry. I really do like you though. I really am your friend. Hey, you watching?
So my kids get on me because essentially I was told I text like a writer because I will send my messages in a paragraph. First of all, if y'all don't learn how to use punctuation, I'm gonna poke you in your damn eyeballs. Because I swear, I think that's part of the anxiety is I open up a text message and there are no punctuations. It's just one 7-line run-on sentence.
One thought,
And I'm
yeah.
like, I don't know what this person is saying, right? But when I send a text message, I send it like it's an email or whatever it is. I'm like, I respond, I put in my second thought, I do the thing, I put the spaces, and when I'm sending it to the kids, I will sometimes sign it off, mom, or with a little heart. They be like, Mom, you are annoying.
We
Just
know
send
it's you. Like,
your message.
They're children.
we know it's you.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I think
We have a really dope topic tonight. I'm excited to talk about this. Listen, I'm going to do my best. Okay, my
I'm not.
absolute best to be open-minded and
She's not.
no, I am because listen,
She is.
me
I'm
and the
not.
we hate, this person. We go together real bad, and I have to do better because it comes off as aggressive, and it comes off as unpatriotic, and it comes off as homegrown terrorist kind of thing. And I'm not. I just don't like certain people.
Homegrown terrorists terrorized the government on January 6th. That's a homegrown terrorist.
Yeah, but they won't consider that. They'll consider someone like me with a little podcast with like 10 viewers as this huge threat, right? And so anyway, funny enough, my mentor and I were talking today. We got in like two separate arguments. The first one, and hold up, y'all tell me if I was wrong. Like I will never talk crazy to my therapist, but my mentor, I don't know, I love her, but she get a little bit of Tima all the time. And so she gonna tell me that I need to consider cutting my nail budget, like, my budget that I have to get my nails and feet done. I said, look, I get that I have to save money right now, but why do I have to cut my Manny petty budget? Like, that's disrespectful to me. Like, why would you even suggest that? Like, suggest something else. Like, I am not letting that go. For those of you who don't understand, I got my daddy's hands. Okay. Like, I didn't get pretty dainty, cute hands like my mama. I got my daddy's hands. And I can't look like I fix engines for a living if I don't get my nails done. So I was just like, no, that's disrespectful. Then she brought up the fact that I'm always attacking the person in the White House and how that comes off as very aggressive and non-unified, and how I'm not being fair to those across the aisle. And so I love her, but I think I'm gonna just block her for a couple weeks. Like,
Like, well, I feel attacked every time I turn on the news. So, whatever.
First
seriously.
of all, this is going to be the fifth time I'm saying it in 2 days. As writers, I have decided that this chapter in U.S. history is called Welcome to the Twilight Zone. I literally feel like Dizzy Dizzy Dinosaur. I remember the game Dizzy Dizzy Dinosaur, and the dinosaur used to come out and snatch the marbles. It's look it up. Dizzy Dizzy Dinosaur. There is so much happening over here. I feel like I am in a three ring circus. You ever been to Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus? It's a three ring circus, and in each circle, each ring, there's something happening. And if you're over here, you might miss what's happening over there. We are in a human version of Three Card Monte, the shell game. Like it is all over the place, and I'm convinced one that that's part of the plan. If you keep us dazed and confused, and we don't know up from down, left from right, blue from green, then we can't form a thought because as soon as the thought comes into our head, we're bombarded with something else, and it's too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm with the 92% that's right now that's sitting back and observing the tennis match and what's going on, right? Because if we're gonna come out strong and we're gonna come out swinging, we have to make sure that the blows count. We can't just go in there randomly trying to hit everything that we can. We have to be very targeted and very specific at what it is that we address.
That's good.
Because if not, we're gonna get winded. And then
Yeah.
when it comes time to really go in, we're not gonna have the energy to do it. So remember, y'all, rest is resistance. It is okay to sit certain things out. That's why if you into sports, they rotate the bench. They don't keep the top five in all game because when you need them to shoot that 3 pointer at the buzzer, they ain't gonna have the energy in them.
Right.
But tonight we here to tell you what it is you should be paying attention to.
That part.
Hmm.
So tonight we are talking. We, of course, we always like to do a Black History moment or some type of topic around Black excellence, Black achievement, all of the things. But we thought this was more necessary to kind of talk about the dark truth. So we're definitely calling this episode Black, Negra, Noir, the dark truth. We are going to talk about how Project 2025 and all of these executive orders are affecting Black Americans. How is it affecting Black culture, Black communities? My personal opinion is that it has always been the agenda of the Trump administration to defund Black America. That is just my opinion based on what I know, what I've read, what I've seen, what I've heard. And we're going to have a healthy debate about it. We're going to talk about it from our point of view. We would love to hear from you in the comments. If we say something that you feel is contradictory, is more personal than data, justified or data validated, let us know. We don't expect you to think like us or agree with everything we say, but we do expect you to respect our opinion and our position on the matter, and we will do the same for you. So go ahead and share this. Take a moment to like it. Of course, your likes, your hearts, your thumbs up, it really does help and boost our algorithm because we want to reach more people. We would love to have people join in on the discussion and give us some perspective. Maybe there's something we're not considering and we're open to it. So anyway, that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We have three topics as usual, right? The first one we're going to start with is really near and dear to Tiffany and I as HR practitioners, and that is the conversation about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Now, you're likely going to hear me say the full term all night. I do not like calling it DEI because I feel like media has created DEI and the acronym for it. It's almost become derogatory. Like the way they use it in media right now is to be condescending, very attacking, very discrediting to the work and the things and the achievements that diversity, equity, inclusion has done for everyone, not just Black Americans. And we're going to talk more about that. That's our first topic. The next thing we're going to dive into is knowing the issues. You may not be as invested in what's happening around you. And I get that. A lot of, let me be careful with my words. A lot of church folk, they believe that they're just supposed to keep their eyes on God and not worry about what's going on around. But you're supposed to have your Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other. And so we want to help you. We want to make you aware of what's going on around you in case you have not been paying attention. And then lastly, we want to talk about this colorblind society that they're talking about. And we say that with full sarcasm. It is loaded with sarcasm. Colorblind society. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're going to wrap up this discussion. Before we jump in, ladies, let's see who's in the comments. Let's see who's in the building. We always love that you're here. I'm going to scroll back up. Hey, Diamond Anchor 718.
Listen, she said she got us on the big screen tonight.
Big screen.
Appreciate you. Hey. She said she's been waiting since 7:30 so she would be on time. We love that kind of dedication. Thank you, boo. Thank you so much. We love having you here. We see those in the comments that are inviting others. Thank you, Bernadette. We see you. Hey, Shell Mac. Welcome to the show. We know that's you. And let Sean is. Hey, Sean. All right. I see you, Shanny Boo. She says, here from the group chat, your efforts aren't in vain. Oh, we love that. Thank you. All right. So, Tiff, do you want to kick off the diversity, equity, inclusion discussion? Because I'm gonna be over here trying to keep it calm, keep it cute. I got a lot of notes.
I said I wasn't gonna behave. Yes, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Eliminating these key pillars from not only business but from society and education. And I think what has tickled my right rib the most is the people who look like the orange man realizing that they benefited from DEI and they didn't even know it.
Yep.
I think I heard the saying the leopard is eating its face, right? And so you have all these MAGA people out here and these programs and this and that, and we don't need this, and the welfare recipient queen, that, and all these things here. And as these programs are being eliminated and scaled back, they starting to realize that it impacted them because DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion is more than just about women of color, all of those primary things that people think about. It's about veterans. It is about everybody's grandmother and grandfather. It's about everybody's uncle and auntie who off just a little bit, but they okay, but that auntie. And it's starting to hit home that they didn't realize they were part of that community too. When he said he was eliminating things, when him and his not his cabinet, my favorite saying now is his junk drawer of appointees, what they were talking about was anybody who is not like them. So if you are not in that 1% you will be impacted by him and his Sharpie.
Yep. All facts. And so, of course, I wrote down a lot to keep from going off on a tangent and taking over the whole episode on this one thing, because y'all know I can talk about this all day. This is what I did for a living. First of all, diversity.
Just because you don't do it for an organization does that mean you don't still do this.
That part. Thank you.
I hear consultant loading.
I appreciate that. But what I want to take a moment to just piggyback off what Tiffany said is really to educate the masses, or at least those that are here, and you can go educate people that who may be thinking along the lines of this administration. The whole purpose of creating diversity, equity, inclusion, also belonging falls under that same category. EEO, affirmative action, equal opportunity employment. For those who don't know what EEO means, well, it's equal employment opportunity. I always say it wrong. Anyway, my point is, it was created to combat systemic inequality. That is why these programs exist. That is why these race conscious programs exist. But as Tiffany just stated, as the Phoenix just said, it goes beyond the reach of diversity, equity, and inclusion goes far beyond the hiring of and promoting of Black and brown people. It also protects women. It protects veterans. It protects uniquely abled, or y'all know them as differently abled. I like to call them uniquely able people. It's also about LGBTQIA plus. There are so many things that fall, the pillars that fall under diversity, equity, inclusion. And so for that to be the first thing that he eliminates and he attacks based on the emphasis that it only serves Black and brown Americans, that is a narrative that he was intentional. First of all, I just want to say, this man said from the first day of his campaign that he was going to be a dictator. So I really don't understand why there's any shock or surprise that he is doing exactly what he promised he was going to do. Y'all can press rewind on the videotape. Go back to his first day of campaigning. He literally said, not subliminally, it wasn't like distorted. He's out of his own mouth. He mentioned dictatorship, and that is what he was going to do. And that is exactly what he's doing. We can talk about how he is the only president elect I've ever seen that has a unelected billionaire as his daggone and a part of his administration. Why is Elon running Doge? Can someone fill me in on that? Let me stick to
He not here consultant.
Let me stick to DE&I. Let me stick to my comments. We're gonna talk about that because I'm really pissed. Like, why does this man have all this access to this date? No, okay, the team of focus. So I'm gonna come to you, Mel. But the last thing I wanted to say: diversity, equity, inclusion is not about special treatment of Black and brown professionals or people. It was literally designed to level the playing field that had been rigged from the beginning. If you want to identify what programs are in place that are about special treatment, look at white folk. It's called nepotism. That is what you can look at as special treatment, not diversity, equity, inclusion, because it's not. Having worked in that space for almost 20 years, I know for a fact we do not put unqualified people in positions simply because they're Black or brown or disabled or homosexual or a woman. That is not how that works. Because these people were not getting fair opportunities in the workforce, they were being overlooked for certain jobs. These things were implemented to protect them, not to give them special treatment. And so if you think that way, shame on you. And for those of you who just didn't know any better, we're here to educate you and give you the truth about the work in this space. All right, that's it, because I really want to say some other stuff. But go ahead, Mel.
I think something that I want to point out too is a lot of people, when they hear diversity, equity, inclusion, they specifically focus on employment and government assistance. Right. But what they're failing to realize is what this removal is doing is anything that is primarily focused on an individual group and not something for the collective is being removed. So all of the, if you guys haven't been watching the news, some schools and some libraries are removing literature that is specific to any group.
Yep.
A lot of schools, especially any public school, public library, anything like that, any programs they have. So if you have like an African American club, if you have, a Chinese club, if you have a whatever club, a tattoo club, whatever, if it is something that is limited or specific to a group of people, they're getting rid of it.
Yep.
Regardless of what it is. It could be like we all like pink sneakers. So if that's it, then it's it. It's anything for them that is not open to everyone, to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to pay attention to like really what does that leave our options across the spectrum, not just for employment, not just within government programs, not just within education, but within everything. Because now anything that receives federal funding or anything like that will now have to fit into this mold. So that's going to eventually, if these state governments, these local governments don't push back, any extracurricular activities, any little league programs, anything that where there are restrictions and limitations to who can and cannot be a part of it, they're either going to have to conform to this new law or they will lose federal funding. And I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to how broad, as you were saying earlier, how broad diversity, equity, inclusion spans. Yeah. It's not just about, getting a job. It's not just about getting a scholarship. It's not just about, getting into college. It's not just about that.
Right.
Literally any and everything that is been designated for an isolated group of people.
Right. Right.
And they're blasting the big stuff. And so that's what, like Tiffany was saying, we're focusing over here and we're not looking at all the other stuff that we're losing over here with the removal of this. It's so much bigger. It's so much deeper than women and homosexuals and Black people.
Right.
It's so much bigger than that.
Yeah. And transgender. They want to make it about that, but it's bigger than that.
Bigger than that. And I really honestly feel bad for the individuals of any color that have yet to realize that they're a part of that group.
That just means you.
That think that they're exempt because they're not Black.
Right.
This includes you too.
Exactly.
Like if you're any color other than Caucasian or even if
white male. Let's be specific. White male.
Right. But even more specific than that, even more niche than that, a heterosexual cis white male of privilege who is born of or comes from a specific economic background. It's like that niche of a category.
Right.
And so some people, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, Mel.
No, you good.
Some people think just because they palm colored, because they white, it doesn't impact that. Some people think that just because they are a woman who is in this economic, it doesn't impact them. It does. Because there are so many things that have been born of and branched out of the civil rights movement and equal employment opportunities and all this other stuff. And I put it in the chat jokingly that the next time you pull up to the Walmart or whatever it is, and you can't park your minivan in the blue lines to unload Pawpaw, it's because they removed DEI.
Yep.
And I guarantee you what will be sitting in that parking spot will be an F-150 with the Union Jack or whatever the F it was called in that spot.
Or a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Because it is. Nope, we're not. Nope. You said, okay, go ahead.
Well, it has become so minute, not even minute, but granular in its effects. That there are supermarkets now to avoid being in offense or non-compliance to this new rule, no longer have an international foods aisle.
Right.
Where you gonna get your sofrito from?
That's how extreme it is.
Real people make it. I mean, the real ones make it, but I'm just saying, sometimes people need a helping hand, and they get it from the international.
Like Mel just said, I don't think the average American truly understands. They're not knowledgeable of what diversity, equity, inclusion is, because again, if it's not something you're paying attention to, or you feel like it does not serve you, that it is irrelevant to you. However, neurodivergent. Let's talk about that. There are millions of Americans with children on the spectrum.
Elon could be on the spectrum, but he don't need to be recognized as diverse, equitable, or inclusion because nobody want to play with his.
But my point is, neurodivergent is covered under, diversity, equity, inclusion.
Mhm.
We're not thinking about the programs that help.
Yeah.
What is it at the public schools, the IEP? We're
Yeah.
not thinking
IEPs.
about any of that that's going to get cut. And so now our children are going to fall behind in school because they're not getting the funding and the support, because the teachers are already and educators are already underpaid. And now you're asking to put these children with special learning needs. I don't like calling them disabilities, but special learning needs back into Gen Pop. And then they're not able to keep up. That's going to create issues for families. More and more families are going to lose and miss out on work for those who weren't already impacted by the mass terminations that are happening across the US. Like, it is just a domino effect and a spiral that is happening, all because of this one attack, this one thing that you thought was an issue. Or what did he refer to it as? Wasted funds and unnecessary funding. So you assumed that these programs were an issue. I saw an article that Google recently canceled its Pride Day celebrations and Black History Month celebrations. So before we move to the next subtopic, let's talk about these companies. One in particular, we cannot, let's respect my separation agreement with them. I don't even coming for me. But when you look at these organizations who took no time complying with this new executive order to defund their diversity, equity, inclusion programs, to cut their programs, were they ever really invested anyway? Because some of these companies reacted immediately. Target, for example, they wasted zero time
They
backing.
just waiting to say go.
Target,
They were on.
Target was like, all black hair products on clearance.
Target was in the get ready position. If you run track, on your mark, get ready, get set, go. Like, they was ready. They was like, go ahead, say it.
Yep.
I don't like Target no way. And I was like, that's fine. Let me come get on my products because I won't be back because I wasn't here before anyway. I don't like it.
I go to the Korean beauty supply store anyway. I'm looking for a black owned one.
Because y'all upcharge on everything. So F y'all. I don't like y'all no way.
But that's just one example of how these organizations jump right to. Like, were you ever really invested? Did it ever really matter to you?
Yeah.
Were you ever concerned in any way? Because if you can pull these programs like effortlessly, you can pull your budgets, you can pull your funding, you can terminate departments by the hundreds.
Yeah.
Were you ever truly a supporter of diversity, equity, inclusion? Or was it just a compliance checkbox for you? It was not a business imperative. It was not a conviction. It was not an investment in your workforce. It truly was, well, we have to, so we might as well.
Yeah.
And that
In
is
response, yes, because I had many conversations in late 2020, early 2021, as all of these companies were introducing diversity, equity, and inclusion departments within their organizations. And all I kept feeling was this felt very, it felt very responsive to what was happening at the times with all of the civil unrest with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, like all of that there, right? But what is and I'm ashamed of myself right now because I didn't write it down, but there's a term in fashion in which trendy. There we go. Tiffany right there. It felt very trendy for a company or an organization to announce that they now had this this type of department within their organization.
Yeah.
And they literally sprang up overnight, like boom, 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 boom. This organization, this organization, that. They have this, they have that, right? And so it felt very trendy. It felt very on niche
Mm-hmm.
to say, well, I have this within my organization, and our groups within the organization, they're addressing these things, right?
Mhm.
But that was because it was responsive and they wanted to keep that black dollar. At
Mm-hmm.
the end of the day, each and every last one of these companies understand the power of the black dollar, of the colored dollar. The colored dollar, the black dollar leaves the community quicker than any other dollar economically.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
If I had really been paying attention and doing my notes, I would have done it. Somebody, if you watching, go and Google how long does the black dollar stay in the black community and drop it in the chat. I guarantee you, I think it's under like 10, like under 10 days.
Yes, I was
Um,
going to say, I think it's
yeah.
under a week.
Yeah.
It's under 10 days that it takes for the black dollar to. And I just said
Yeah.
so. Like as we were talking about Target and the fact that all the black hair care products, and I've never really purchased my hair care products from Target. I've always gone to the beauty supply stores, but
Mm-hmm.
97% of the beauty supply stores are owned by Asians.
Yep.
Yep.
And so the fact that now it's so easy for them to remove these things from their their organization is because it was a plug and play thing in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally just a move on the chessboard and an attempt to keep the dollar. Now,
Mhm.
what they're hoping, I believe, at the oh my god,
6 hours. Thank you, Diamond Anger. 6.
6 hours.
not even a whole goddamn
Maybe
day, and I said
2 hours.
got DOT, not even a whole
That's not even a
goddamn
work.
day.
That's not even a work day.
Do me a favor, Diamond. Ask Google how long it takes for the Jewish dollar to leave the
I was just
community.
going to say Jewish community. Yep. Hmm.
Hmm.
It's probably going to be like, 62.
47 days. He said 47 days. That's my guess. It's easy to remove it because it was plug and play. It was all responsive. Now, at the end of the day, what I think a lot of these companies are banking on is
20 days.
the federal cover and the protection of the orange man and his cronies. But yet again, what I'm going to remind you is they singing, they not like us, just like we are.
Mm. Hmm. Hmm.
Wow. Thank you for that. Thank you, Diamond. Thank you, Michelle. That's insane. It says allegedly the Jewish community is 20 days. Michelle said 28 days. And then Asian community is 30 days. And we are 6 hours.
6 hours.
6 hours.
Gotta love it.
That's insane. Well, listen, we're already beyond the halfway point. I do want to talk a little bit about some of the other issues. I don't want to focus solely on diversity, equity, inclusion, even though that is a pain point for me. It has nothing to do with my career, but it has everything to do with what those programs stood for, and the support that they provided. Um, Before we move on, I'll just talk about the piece about inclusion in particular. You know, being able to join an organization and find an affinity group where you can be yourself because there are other people like you. You don't feel isolated from your coworkers. You don't feel that you have no opportunities in an organization, that you'll never be eligible for upward mobility or internal mobility. That is what these programs were put in place to do. Belonging, again, which is a very critical part of diversity, equity, and inclusion, really focused on allowing people in this changing world, in these constantly changing environments, to feel seen and heard and celebrated. And the fact that they are taking that away intentionally, what message is that sending to people? And the fact that there hasn't been greater outcry or uproar, y'all were louder about TikTok than y'all were about some of your civil rights that are being impeded and some of your civil rights that are being taken from us. The progress is being reversed. And we have been quiet. I'm not on social media. So if there's a social media, reel I haven't seen, fine. But I am constantly on the news articles, constantly on the news outlets, and I see nothing. We are quiet. I done seen on 15 different news outlets that the Wayans are being honored by NAACP Hall of Fame. I love that for them. But what does the NAACP think about what's going on when it comes to these programs and the funding being cut? People's lives being turned upside down. What are we saying about that? Are we expecting Representative Jasmine Crockett and Bernie Sanders and Rep Garcia from California to be the only three people doing all the work? Where's the power dynamic that we had when Obama administration was locked out of government for, what was it, 3 months, 3 or 4 months? Because across the aisles, they could not agree, but yet everyone seems to be compliant with the things that are happening. So no one's going to say anything. No one's going to step up and challenge any of this that's going on. But y'all couldn't wait to challenge everything Obama did. But y'all are allowing these things to happen. And it's not just affecting a subset of people. It's affecting America. And so anyway, I'll get off my soapbox. Let's talk a little bit about
what? I'm second mine up higher.
The funny thing is, I want to kick back on that too. With that, it's so funny because I'm not gonna say I was surprised that this was gonna happen because why I'm drawing a blank. What was it called for education for Black people? Like, it was
for them to get into the schools?
Affirmative action.
Affirmative action, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So remember, he got rid of that his last term.
Mm-hmm. Well, he attempted, but
or attempted. So I was like, I really wasn't surprised that this was coming. Like, he's been. One thing is clear: he's been very consistent on his goals and agenda where people of color are concerned, right? But I find it hilarious that nobody caught, and let me say nobody, most of it did not catch the fact that this passed so quickly, right? But when he attempted to stop public assistance, the Supreme Court was like, no, we're gonna hold that. And a lot of people naively were like, see, well, they stopped that because we are not the highest percentage of people that receive public assistance, despite
white folks.
Despite the picture that they may try to paint. Minorities are not the highest percentage of individuals that receive public assistance.
Okay, I'm
just saying. But right. people were so like they were so like, oh well, see, it was just like when the whole abortion thing happened, and everybody was like, oh, it's because I said, listen, y'all are not paying attention. I was like, we do not have the highest percentage rate of abortions. It's not about stopping us or preventing us only. It's also about helping them. I was like, so not every move that looks like they're saving us is about us. We have just for years believed the propaganda that Black people or people of color are all the ones on welfare, and we always have welfare, and we do this. But that's not a factual statement. We are not the majority of people that do that. So the Supreme Court stopping that had nothing to do with us.
Nope.
So all of you that were like, with the DEE, but they're still trying to, keep programs for us. That wasn't for us. Because we're not the primary beneficiaries of that.
Nope. And Tiff and I were talking yesterday. We had a great discussion yesterday, and I was saying the biggest issue from an accountability standpoint is that we don't teach civics in this country. We teach just enough about the branches of government to pass exams and to fulfill textbooks, but we really don't teach like the responsibilities and the rights of citizens here. Like, that's because the more information you have, the more power you have. The more applied information you have, the more power you have. And that is exactly why there are no civics classes in elementary, middle, or high school. Because why are we going to empower you? Our goal is to teach you how to be sheep, how to do what you're told, how to comply, or as Diamond was saying, be complicit. That is the agenda. That is the goal. But the more information you have, the greater threat that you are. And so, no, that's not ever going to become popular. And like you said, they're not going to share data and stats and statistics like you just shared. We're not even we're not those that are dependent on welfare and other subsidies. That's the Midwest. Guess who populates the Midwest? White Americans, not us. And so anyway, before we run out of time, let's go ahead and tackle some of these issues, because there are quite a few. So unfortunately, we won't be able to touch the hilarious agenda, which is to create a colorblind society. Is he serious? Anyway, but let's at least tackle some of these issues that not only these executive orders have prompted, but obviously Project 2025 and all the other damage and destruction that is going on. Do y'all want to tackle some first? Because y'all know I got a whole she got a list over here, okay, of all the problems.
All the problems.
All of them.
I mean, I'll go. I know for me, especially working in education, some of the major issues that we're facing is reconstructing curriculum, because it's like women's studies.
Yeah.
Problem. How do we teach that? African American studies. How do we teach that?
Right.
History. Just regular US history. Let's just go with regular US history.
Regular history.
They have now adjusted how you can teach that and what
Right.
you can and cannot say in that. And in the literature you can use and what you can and can't recommend.
Right.
And so for me, the department that I work in is international and public affairs. So majority of the programs that we teach have to be, the curriculums have to be reconstructed now. A lot of our dual enrollment programs where we do dual enrollment with the high school students, those curriculums now have to be changed. And so it's these issues of we were already getting restricted knowledge.
Yep.
Let's just be honest. We were already getting restricted knowledge.
That's good.
You will now, and for the parents who have lived by the mantra of letting the school teach your children all they need to know, your children are now going to know nothing.
All the children left behind.
Ain't funny. Like, they're going to know nothing. They're going to know they're going to know a figmented creation of life and history. It is literally going to be cookie cutter tailored to very specific things that they want kids to know.
Yep.
So it's almost going to be as much of the what happened in history didn't happen. So you can't, they can't teach slavery. They can't teach the Holocaust, or let me rephrase that. They can't teach it in any way. I'm trying to get my verbiage correctly. No subject can be taught in any way that any part of what is being taught can be found offensive to any other community. So tell me, how do you talk about 1600 to 1965?
Right.
In any,
you meant 2025.
Well, that ain't made it into the history books yet.
No.
So, but how do you teach that? How do you teach that? What's that? 300-400 years? How do you teach that for any country, not just here, for anywhere in the world? How do you talk about what happened in that? How? Um,
Oh man.
they are in the process of wanting to defund the Department of Education.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yes. And they're
now,
leaving it up to Doge to do it.
so just so that I can being on the inside of the education track and getting, so let me explain
If
to
you
you.
know I'm not you know I'm not wrong. I'm sorry, Mel.
No, you fine. I'm gonna make it quick because I know we run out of time.
No, go
Um,
ahead.
just to explain what that actually looks like for anyone at this point. So they want to defund the Department of Education and put the responsibility of funding education at the state level. So if you don't know how state funds get allotted to communities based on success rate, profit margin, and profit increase probability. So that's how the state decides where they're going to allot their funds. So what does that mean? If you are in a impoverished neighborhood, you get less funds. If you are in a community that does not have a lot of businesses, so you don't necessarily bring back a lot of income into the community, you get less funds. If the median income for the area that you live in does not meet a certain threshold, you get less funds. So that means when the state gets their budget and they have to allocate funds, already the impoverished neighborhoods get the limited amount of funds already. Now you're going to get less funds because they're not getting funds from the government to fund the education for your community, which means your children will get less funds, which means they will have no textbooks, they will have less teachers because now they can't afford to pay a teacher. So your classrooms that now have 30 and 40 students will now have 70 and 80 students because they cannot afford to pay these teachers. Computers, they will not be funded. So the students that are now expected to thrive in this new AI and electronic society will not have those resources unless you live in one of those communities that get first dibs on funding. So, little on what, because a lot of people are like, well, yeah, give the control to the state, because no, if you give the control to the state, how you get your money will severely diminish because now that has to be added into the state's already tight budget. They now have to now fund education completely and solely by themselves.
Listen,
So yeah.
since you just checked on education, where is it the family in Detroit where the mom abandoned the three children like in 2021? The school never did a welfare check on these children. The children were living in deplorable conditions,
Wasn't it
and
like 3 years?
for 3 years.
Mhm.
Mom was all living her best life, hair done, nails done, everything did, and because she posted it on social media, but the kids were living in a trash of a house, like literally. And the failure outside of mom and the family goes to the school because the school did not report their truancy, did not do a welfare check, nothing, right? But Donna in the comments and she's talking about Linda McMahon. And if y'all don't know who Linda McMahon is, she is part of the McMahon Empire coming out of Connecticut that is responsible for WWE wrestling and everything like that. And so we're about to have a Royal Rumble for dollars and education. I live in New York City. New York City is the largest school district in the United States of America. And we get our funding through one of the things are these school lunch forms that the school sends out at the beginning of the year. And regardless of what your income is, all children are now entitled to free lunch tickets, lunch passes, whatever it is. There used to be a point in time where if the family hit a certain income level, then the kids either got like
Reduced lunch.
discounted or reduced lunch or they got free lunch or whatever it is. But because of things that happened under the Democratic administration, every child was eligible for this. But the school still needed every parent to submit a lunch form because this is how we got our dollars.
Right.
We have an entire District 75 is an entire district within the New York City school system that is primarily focused on special education and children who require special needs, whether it's for mental or physical, social, emotional disabilities, for an entire district that covers
Mhm.
all five boroughs.
Mhm.
This will be probably one of the first districts that would have to be eliminated, thus referring back to what Natima said about returning these children to Gen Pop. I don't necessarily like the term Gen Pop because it speaks directly to the prison, the
Prison,
school to
school to
prison
prison
pipeline
pipeline.
Mhm.
that we
Mhm.
face every day in the inner
Yep.
city.
Mhm.
Yep.
So this is so infuriating that people were so focused on them and how this impacts them, but they were looking at it through the wrong lens.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
We have, um, it was recently shared that case managers who with work in the homeless services programs were told that if ICE agents show up at the shelters to let them in. This is what this is what we're facing. Literally, if you so mom can be an American, the children were born here, but if dad or abuela or somebody was not born here and their documents are not like I's dotted, T's crossed, everything underlined and done, but they are being ripped out of the shelters and the families of it. What happens if the children are born here and mom isn't a
Yep.
citizen? She's
Yep.
being deported and the kids are being
Put
sent
in.
to foster care.
Yep.
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 Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
Welcome to the Twilight Zone.
Somebody passively, not necessarily making light of the situation, but just joking. It was like, if you have any type of accent, you better clean it up real quick. Like, because they're not even they at this point, they're not even fact checking. They don't even care.
Yeah.
If you sound like you're not from here, they snatching you up.
And
Here's
please
something.
understand, it is not only people from Latin American countries. This is the ones that they sit there and they're the poster children for what it is that they're talking about. But this is not only Latin American countries. This is people who come from the West Indies. This is people who do come from Africa. This is everybody who was not born here in the United States or Euro passing.
Mhm.
Because trust and believe they're not running through Little Italy looking for.
Nope. Because if they were, they would need to start in the White House.
I was about to say, look,
Because
Italy.
Trump's wife and
I was about
Pence's wife and their
I was,
in-laws would need to go.
listen, you took the words out of my mouth. I was like, look at a little Italy. Like, is he looking in his bedroom?
Is he looking in his bedroom? Is he looking at his VP's family? Like, are you kidding? But like you said, we're running out of time. I did see Michelle's comment. I agree with you. We do need to do a part 2 on this because our goal is to make us aware. When I say make us, meaning not just those who are part of the hustle and shine community, but all BIPOC Americans. We need to be more aware. We need to be equipped with information so that we can actually take action. The last thing I did want to share on some of the topics we were talking about or the issues we were talking about, I encourage you to consider the fact that these new executive orders and Project 2025 has impacted veterans benefits. So those are being cut. So if you have family members who are currently serving or have served, if they decide not to re-enlist in the next 4 years, their veteran benefits will be probably slim to none.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. They just tackled education. Let's talk about farmers, that they are cutting and freezing their funds in the name of wasteful spending, government wasteful spending. There are thousands and millions of pounds of food just sitting because these farmers cannot get it to their local groceries or grocers or whatever I'm not really equipped or acquainted rather with how the distribution of it works. But I did see the articles and I did see the pictures of how much food is sitting and wasting because their funds were frozen. And then we can also talk about unions that are being affected. If you know anyone who is in a you know what I'm saying, in a position where they're in a unionized organization, that's now going to be disrupted. So much is changing and so much is impacting this country. Mass employment. I mean, I can go on and on. But it's time to drop a gem and get out of y'all way. We will do our best to bring back some of this discussion in a later time. But for now, I just encourage you to do your part. Do your part. Take a look and do some research to figure out what your Democratic subcommittees are in your district. Go to the meetings, find a voice, say something, get involved in the discussion, demand more from those that are representing us on the Hill. Ask them to take our issues to the decision makers. And I'm sure people are like, well, they're not going to be able to do a whole lot. They can't do much. They can do a lot more than they are. That is the issue. They're not doing enough. There's a lot of arguing. There's a lot of combating. There's a lot of calling to have new investigations open for what? He's already been convicted and he's still in the Oval Office. What is another investigation going to change? We have to change the things that we can change. Let's focus on what we can do. Let's fight for the education funds. Let's fight for farming funds. Let's fight for the things that actually impact us on a day-to-day. And so that is what we hope you will take away from today's episode. All right, ladies, let's drop a gem and get out the people's way. You want to go first, Mel?
Sure. I think my gem for today, just with everything we talked about today, is they used to have this saying that says television. If you break it down, it says tell lies to your vision. Stop relying on the media to give you truthful, factual, and accurate information. Allow your eyes and your ears and your brain to seek, discern, decipher, and process your own information.
That's good.
Because I promise you, if you take what you see and research it a little bit more, you'd be surprised at what you find.
Mm-hmm.
They're never going to walk in and hand you the smoking gun. They're not. They don't want you to. And they're aware of the fact that as a culture, we don't read. We don't research. We take things that are said on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Snapchat, and on our television as fact, regardless of who it's coming from. So I implore you to research and go beyond the first 3 bullets on Google. Go beyond Wikipedia. Go beyond the things that are being forced for you to see first, and look deeper to what a lot of this stuff really means and what it means for you and your community and your family personally beyond what they're telling you. Because I promise you, you'd be surprised at what they're not telling you.
Yep. That's good. That is so good. Phoenix?
I've been taking some cleansing breaths so I could calm down just to say this. Rest is a form of resistance. Go sit back. Study who your enemy is so you can find their weaknesses. So your next shot will be the kill shot.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I absolutely love that. I want to talk to the believer. My gem is for you tonight. I know that what's happening in the world is intimidating. It's scary. And we would rather, hide behind faith and run and focus more on the word of God. And that's great. I love that for us. But we also have a responsibility to pay attention to what's going on in the world so that we can stand in the gap and pray for those who do not know how to approach the throne on their own. There is so much happening that's impacting our communities and our families. And I said this before on a prayer call that we was on, but I really want us to focus less on our life and more on human life, because these things are impacting everybody. And so maybe you don't care that somebody's being deported that has the right to be here. Or maybe you're not as concerned with education because your children are graduated and done. But be concerned with those who are in the fight, those who are literally trying to figure out their next move. What are they going to do? Let's stand in the gap and be the faith that they don't have yet. Let's be the hope that they cannot see. So I implore you to please take your newspaper in one hand and your Bible in the other and pray about what you see. Pray about what's going on. Because yes, the God that I love and serve is seated on the throne, but there is a demon in the White House. And we need to be able to intercede. So I am asking you to do your part, even if it's prayer. That is enough. That is a powerful offensive and defensive weapon that we've been given. So please encourage somebody. If you hear somebody going through something, be their shoulder, be their voice of encouragement, be their light, please. That is my gem. It's me really just begging you to do more, to speak up, to take action, to put your faith to work. Because faith without works is indeed dead. So let's do something with this faith. Let's activate it, give it a purpose. Show up to meetings, go out to town halls, speak out on public reels and things that are trending. Get involved in the conversation. Don't just sit back and watch. Get involved. So that's all that I have to say tonight. We are always so grateful that you're here. Thank you for going over time with us. Clearly, you can see we are all passionate about what we're discussing tonight. We did our study. We did our work to show ourselves approved. And we hope that you'll continue to come back. We will have lighter discussions in the weeks ahead. But this one was imperative. This one was important. It was important to us. And we're so glad you were here for it. It's not too late to share this. You can share the replay from our YouTube channel. Any other announcements I'm missing, ladies? Anything else going on that we should tell them before we go?
Nominations for the Diamonds and Blanc Gala is open. So if you know someone who has been impactful, there are about 8 categories. Is that right? So there are 8 different categories that you can nominate someone. You can nominate yourself if you feel so inclined, but definitely support us. We want to shine light on, we want to support, we want to uplift and spotlight people who are doing great work. So please go to our website, www.diamondriders.com/nominations and nominate someone. Yes. And then they will be able to come to our Pressure Weekend and Diamonds and Blanc Gala happening in September of this year in New York, where we can give them their flowers while they can still smell them.
I love that. Yes. Thank you, Mel. Thank you for that reminder. We have prayer tomorrow, 6 a.m. If you are interested, visit diamondwriters.com to get the link and the invite. We'd love to touch and agree with you because we are praying about everything we just talked about. Believe that. Okay. And then, of course, next week, we will be right back here. Same time, same platform. And until then, y'all know what to do. Y'all continue to hustle and shine. Good night, y'all.
Let's go.